There are 312 people missing. Not scattered. Not lost one at a time over years. All 312 of them gone, in a single night, without a scream, a struggle, or a single body ever found. Their homes were still standing the next morning. Their fires were still warm. A pot of stew sat untouched on a stone hearth, half-eaten bread beside it. But the people who made that dinner? They were never seen again. This is the story of the village that vanished and the theories that have tried, and failed, to explain where 312 people could possibly go. The village sat in a shallow valley, tucked between two ridgelines that kept it hidden from the main trade roads. It wasn't rich. It wasn't famous. It was the kind of place that existed quietly for generations: farmers, a mill, a small chapel, a well at the center of everything. Travelers passed near it maybe twice a season. And it was one of those travelers, a merchant making his usual route, who noticed something wrong. No smoke. No smoke from any chimney, in a village that should have had 30 of them going by that hour of the morning. He rode down into the valley expecting to find sickness, maybe a fire, maybe nothing at all. What he found instead was a village that looked like it had been paused mid-breath. Doors were unlocked. Some were open. Livestock wandered the streets, unfed but alive. Someone had let them out, or they'd broken loose on their own after days with no one to tend them. Inside the homes, meals left half-finished. Beds slept in and left unmade. A child's toy sitting in the middle of a floor, as if set down mid-play and never picked back up. Nothing was stolen. Nothing was burned. Nothing was broken. There was no sign of a struggle anywhere in the entire village. No blood, no scorched earth, no trampled fields suggesting an army had come through. Whatever happened here happened quietly enough that not one person managed to leave a mark of resistance behind. The merchant rode for help. Within days, word had spread, and people came from every direction to see it for themselves. What they found only deepened the mystery. Because the village wasn't just empty. It was frozen. The first explanation people reached for was the obvious one: plague. It made sense on the surface. Diseases could move through a village fast, and fear of contagion could explain why survivors might flee overnight, abandoning meals and homes behind them. But this theory has a hole in it large enough to walk a village through. Disease doesn't take everyone at once. It doesn't take the elderly and the infants and the strongest young men in the fields all on the same night, all cleanly, all without leaving a single body behind. If illness had swept through, there would be graves. There would be sick beds. There would be someone left too weak to travel, someone who didn't make it out. There was no one. Not a single body sick, dying, or otherwise was ever recovered. Whatever this was, it wasn't a disease that killed. If it was a disease at all, it was one that made 312 people disappear instead. The second theory was violence: a raid, an attack, a forced removal by soldiers or bandits looking for laborers or captives. This one held up a little longer. History is full of villages emptied by force. But the evidence on the ground didn't match. Raiders leave signs. They take what's valuable and they leave the rest scattered: broken furniture, forced doors, trampled crops from horses or wagons moving fast through narrow streets. Raiders in a hurry don't carefully close every door behind them. And there's one detail that undoes the raid theory entirely: the animals. If soldiers or bandits had swept in to take the villagers, why leave every single farm animal behind, alive and untouched? Livestock was valuable. It was food, it was labor, it was money. No group capable of forcibly removing 300 people in total secrecy would leave that kind of value behind for no reason. Someone or something took the people, and left everything else exactly as it was. The third theory is the quietest one, and in some ways the most unsettling: that no one took them at all. That they left on their own. Some historians have pointed to religious movements of the era, entire communities that abandoned their homes overnight to follow a preacher, a prophecy, a promise of something better elsewhere. It's happened before, in other places, in other centuries. But even this theory strains under its own weight. A planned departure, even a sudden one, leaves traces. People take their valuables. They take tools. They take food for the road. They don't leave dinner on the table. Whatever pulled these people away from their homes, it didn't give them time to pack. Or it didn't let them believe they'd need to. Here's the piece of this story that still keeps investigators up at night, centuries later. In the chapel at the center of the village, searchers found the ledger, the record book where the local priest tracked births, deaths, and notable events in the community. The last entry was written the night before the disappearance. It wasn't about a sickness. It wasn't about a threat, a warning, or fear of any kind. It was a single line, in steady, unshaken handwriting, describing nothing more than an ordinary day. The weather. A wedding planned for the following spring. Nothing unusual at all. Whoever wrote that final line had no idea it would be the last thing anyone would ever record about this village. Whatever came for them that night, it came without warning. And it came for all of them, together, at once. No bodies. No struggle. No warning. No survivors to explain what happened, and no evidence pointing clearly enough at any single answer. 312 people sat down to dinner one evening in a quiet valley, and by morning, the only thing left of them was the meal still on the table. To this day, no one knows where they went. Maybe you have a theory of your own. If you do, I want to hear it in the comments. This story is presented for entertainment purposes. Some details are dramatized or altered for storytelling effect.